Now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin likely to hit 210,000 this year in 2025, says Presto research head. And that's right. And this is in alignment with the Bitcoin power law model I believe we covered in yesterday's podcast, also projecting 200,000 by the fourth quarter of 2025, potentially by July, which is right around the corner. That's right. Mr. Peter Chung, head of research of quantitative trading firm Presto, has repeated his bitty prediction that Bitcoin will reach 210,000 per coin by the end of this year in 2025. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. So yeah, on CNBC, Chung cited the institutional adoption, the global liquidity expansion as the primary drivers behind his long-term bullish outlook. And that's why I love Bitcoin. Long-term is like 6 months. How cool is that? The analyst acknowledged that market conditions this year haven't been as expected, specifically the challenging of the macroeconomic environment and the market reaction. However, he described the recent corrections as a healthy adjustment, suggesting they laid the stronger foundation for the Bitcoin progression towards the becoming of the mainstream financial asset. Quoting him here from CNBC, in hindsight, I think it was actually a healthy correction, which has paved the way for the further reacting of the Bitcoin as a mainstream asset. In fact, there's this clip right here, and in the show notes below the video in the description on Rumble and YouTube, I always include the resources I'm getting the news from. I never just make up the news. If you haven't figured it out and you've never actually watched the live stream, maybe only listen to the podcast version, which is the audio, but everything is obviously found from wherever. But this particular story comes from CNBC, Squawk Box, and it was posted here, and I have the links in the description. And it says here, quantitative trading firm Presto predicts the Bitcoin price can hit 210,000 this year. It's a 2.5-minute clip of Peter Chung making his prediction. No relation to Chung Lee from Street Fighter Broskies. But hey, anyways, I was always more of a Ryu kind of guy anyways. Hadouken! Chung also discussed Bitcoin's dual nature, describing it both as a risk-on asset and digital gold. That's right. It's a double-edged sword. That's right. He said the Bitcoin typically behaves like a risk asset driven by the user adoption and the network effects. However, during periods of financial stability or instability, such as the 2022 outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine conflict or the 2023 Silicon Valley banking collapse, Bitcoin tends to act as a safe haven asset, similar to gold. These movements are rare, Chung explained. They only happen when the market has doubts about the stability of the US dollar-denominated financial system. When in doubt, stack the pre-low biddy. Why? It's going up forever, Laura. And while Bitcoin has lagged behind the gold during the recent market turbulence, I repeat, turbulence, Chung suggested the biddy could catch up and potentially outperform traditional safe haven assets by the year's end. You're damn straight. I second that. Let me know if you agree. Chung also reaffirmed Presto's target for Ether, maintaining its valuation model based on the Ether to Bitcoin ratio, reflecting confidence in Ethereum's ongoing network improvements. Here's what's interesting. Ethereum achieved the current all-time high of roughly 4,500 back in November of 2021, 4 years ago. And currently it's like 1,700. It's not even half of what it once was, which is pretty wild. And Bitcoin has clearly been outpacing Ethereum. If you look at the Bitcoin Ether charts, I mean, it explains what's really happening. So I don't think ETH will likely outpace Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been outpacing ETH and likely will continue to outpace Ethereum. Since Ethereum switched this protocol, a lot of people lost trust. Yeah, I mean, also considering it's centralized, also considering it has an infinite supply, they can just continue to print it out of thin air, no different than the US dollar. And now the crypto folks are recognizing this. So expect Bitcoin to continue to outpace Ether and expect the Bitcoin dominance to continue to outpace the Ether dominance, which is the trajectory we've been trending. Just point out the obvious, broskies. And echoing Chung's views, Bitwise CEO Hunter Horsley said in a recent post that Bitcoin surge to 94,000 has occurred with minimal retail participation, noting Google searches for the Bitcoin remain near long-term lows, which would explain why the traffic is so down on my YouTube channel. I just can't explain it. Finally, an explanation. Anyways, according to Horsley, and I wonder if his last name is Horsley because in a past life he was once a horse, like Mr. Ed or something. I don't know. A horse is a horse. Of course. The current rally is being driven by the institutional, clearly, financial advisors, corporations, the BlackRock, and even the nation states. The type of investors buying the biddy is expanding. Quoting Horsley right here. Bitcoin at 94, yet Google searches for the biddy near the long-term lows. This haven't been retail-driven institutional advisors, corporates, and nations have come into the space. The type type of the investors buying the Bitcoin is expanding, and that's right, it's not coming from retail. Previous cycle, it was all about retail. This cycle is all about the institutions. It's all about the sovereign wealth funds. It's all about the nation state adoption. It's all about Bitcoin for the treasury, Bitcoin for the enemies, Bitcoin for the Kennedys. That's right. Bitcoin's over Hennessy. Bitcoin, 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 because it goes the doing. Simple. Corporate Bitcoin treasuries already hold nearly 65 billion. Another sexy 11 omen. 6 plus 5 is an 11. 65 billion worth of the biddy, according to the BitcoinTreasuries.net. An April 22nd analyst from Standard Chartered, primary shareholder to the Standard Chartered Bank is none other than BlackRock, largest asset management giant in the world, currently controlling 11 trillion with assets under management. They said the institutional Bitcoin demand from the ETF and the traders seeking a hedge against macroeconomic risk could cause the biddy price more than double this year. And I've had way too much caffeine today. But I digress. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. 210,000 in play. Yay, nay, holla at your boy. And welcome to the Q&A segment of the live stream. And happy 1111 people on the stream. It don't get no more lit than that. I'm going to strike the gong. We're going to celebrate a sexy little doing. And if you don't know, now you know.